Yeah, let's get started. Hi, Nikhil. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Chakra.
So, yeah, let's introduce ourselves, starting with you.
Sure. Hi guys, I am Nikhil Karkare. I am the co-founder of Unity as well as co-founder of Walnut Schools. We have built a platform for a Frappe and ERPNext based platform for education specifically, where we're kind of targeting to solve pain points of every institution that deals with education. It might be an ed tech, it might be a college, it might be a university, or it might be a school. So we want to make sure that all data comes onto one platform and we are able to address all the pain points with deep customization as well as configuration of the platform. Glad to be here.
Nice. So, I'll introduce myself. I'm Sankara Subramanian. I'm heading the development here at Unity. So, my job is to make it work of Nikhil's vision and his ideas. So, that's my job. Right.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we are here to discuss today on Amazon integration that we did for Frappe. There
Mhm.
are existing integrations, but we did something different to solve specific pain points that we had. So, you want to start with the pain point?
Yeah, absolutely. So when this takes us back to the point where we evaluated Frappe and ERPNext as a great platform for making this platform or the product that we've made. Now the first and the foremost problem which we saw was sending messages or emails, right? Uh, Frappe has this background worker queue which processes emails one by one. Now that typically works for enterprises which are, not specifically B2C. For
Hmm.
B2C, for us, where we have thousands of students, several thousand parents, and sending messages to them needs to be quick. For example, it can be something like it's a rain day and we're going to take, we are going to give an off today. So if we have to send out that message, let's say at 6 o'clock in the morning before the buses leave, it is important that those messages go out in the next few minutes, right? You cannot wait half an hour or 1 hour because by that time we are flooded with support requests. Because
Correct.
we're flooded with calls and support requests saying, is the school on today, or we've got confused messages and all of that. So it was very important for us that messages went out very quickly. So I think that was the first problem which we had was mainly the email communication, which had to be really sped up.
That's true. So, yeah, I think we faced the exact scenario, and that is when we decided that we will solve this for Frappe. So that is how we started working on AWS integration. You'll know that AWS provides this service called SES, Simple Email Service.
Yeah.
It's a highly reliable and also a cost-efficient solution, by the way.
Mm.
So those emails can also be patched together. So that's the solution we came up with actually, is that we have our default email queue in Frappe, which sends out those individual emails, unless you have a lot of people in CC. So what we did is that we had this logic of batching emails together and sending out once.
Mm.
So SES had this feature with their integration. So we connected with SES, we made that integration. We also have those batching settings in the sense. So I can take you through the same.
So now why SES? Why not something like MailChimp?
The number one point is that it is a really cost efficient solution. And point two is that it is also highly reliable since it's AWS and it's very highly scalable. Both of these points make it the best choice out there.
Okay.
So, and additional point is that it's not only about email service, but AWS provides a lot of other things too, which
Mm.
we will discuss now.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that we chose this as a platform to integrate with, so that it has a set of tools instead of just having one service, uh,
Mm.
having an integration just to solve one issue. So that's the reason we went with AWS.
Okay. Good. So,
So,
yeah, what did you do to kind of build this out? What was your thought behind how can you make this scalable or how can you make this more easily configurable?
okay. So Frappe comes with certain AWS integrations already. We looked
Mhm,
into it, but those were like fragmented. So for example, Frappe had this AWS S3 backup as a default thing with which comes with the Frappe app only.
mhm,
That was one. Then there was an app from Zerodha called Frappe S3 Attachments, which is again a separate app which helps us in transfer of files. But these and then now we want the SES email service. So these were
mhm,
all fragmented across places. So what I wanted to do was to consolidate it into one place
mhm.
where we can access many of S3's capabilities or AWS's capabilities, configuring it in one place. So that was the idea behind it, and it's like a single point of
Okay,
contact
okay, okay.
to connect with all the services.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's the architecture idea behind it.
okay.
So we referred those previous apps. So thank you. I mean, huge thanks to Zerodha and Frappe team for
Yeah,
already
yeah,
doing the work on that. So we just
yeah.
built on top of it. So
Cool.
coming here, like you mentioned, our main pain point was the emails sending out. So that is where we came up with this email batching. So this is the number of emails. This is configurable also according to the plan that you take in AWS. So there are rate limits for certain plans. So you can choose a plan that works for you and you can set this batch sizes. So if you calculate, we have like 10,000 parents in Walnut. That means to send out 10,000 emails, how much time is it going to take? So we have like 25 emails per second. So in 100 seconds, in 2500, it's like 400 seconds to send out. So that's like less than 10 minutes.
Mm,
So this should work for us. So that is why we went with this plan and this settings. And it is working seamlessly for us now.
mm,
Sending out emails in a quick span of time, it is working obviously. By the way, if some things are like individual emails, so we
mm.
have two settings here. So if that's like an automated email which can go later in a background job, we maintain it in the email queue, default email queue for sending.
Mm.
Only
Okay.
when we send out these bulk emails, we have a tool to send out a bulk email, by the way. So we trigger this. You can either switch it on or off. You can also send out individual emails. But if there are like multiple, if your queue is flooded, it automatically picks it up, batches it, and sends it out.
Okay.
So that's the logic behind it, and that's how we've been able to solve the email issue.
So you mean to say that if there are multiple emails in the queue, which are, let's say, I have sent out fee request emails, those
Mhm.
are batched together and those are sent in bulk too.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So it's essentially what batching means is that you you create one payload for let's say all these 25 emails, and you make one API call to AWS.
Mm, mm,
So when you do that, it's a single API call, and AWS processes much faster.
mm,
So your API calls are reduced by 25 times,
mm, mm.
to be honest. So
Got it.
that's how it happens.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
So now, moving on from email, once that email was solved, the next problem which we also were facing was of storage. Now, uh, storage is like the most important thing for educational institutions because our students typically are with us, in schools, especially they are very, it's a very long journey and very long association from nursery up to class 12. In universities is maybe 4 or maybe even 6 years, or maybe if it's PhD, it's a little more. For undergrad to PhD, if it's the same university, it's a little longer. But it's important to store a lot of documents. It's important to store a lot of photos, a lot of observations, a lot of project submissions, and all of that. So I think storage was one of the biggest problems which we also faced when we were on board Frappe and ERPNext. And though we were looking for cheaper solutions upfront, to be honest, right? So it's always cost reduction for anybody, including education. So we're
That's true.
always looking for some kind of cheap solution where we could have storage done in bulk without and always accessible.
Right.
So we
Especially it
came up.
also comes to cost reduction when it comes to recurring costs. Even if it is
Correct,
one time, we wouldn't care, but recurring
correct,
cost reduction is much ROI to work on. So
correct, correct. So I think what we were also doing was building up Google Workspace integration, right?
yeah,
So now, luckily, education gets some kind of discount when we sign up for Google Education, Google Workspace for education, and there are a couple of plans in that which you can subscribe to, and we get a decent amount of storage, good number of emails, and we have deep integration with Google Workspace. So obviously, Google Drive was the first and the foremost choice to kind of uh, work with storage, bulk storage, right? Where we could upload our presentations, our worksheets, our photos, and all of that to Google Drive direct.
correct.
But there were challenges in that, right? Because as I came to know
So
from Shankara that yeah, you could tell us more about it.
yeah, so there are like I would segregate it into two parts. So
Mm.
is that where we use Google Drive mainly? We also have that Google Drive integration working now. So all your presentations and worksheets, and by the way, all your students are on your Google Workspace, so that you have controls and restrictions over who can access those files. That comes with Google security. So that is point one. Point two, you had these presentations and let's say other stuff like worksheets or Google Docs or something. Those are previewable in the sense it can open up as a presentation in that Google Drive link only. So that is why for these set of files, that is which is like a presentation or something which needs to be with the student after you share it, we did that Google Drive integration. But rest of the files, so let's say it's an image, it's an event photos that you have in your schools, and let's say all the other files, your fees receipts to all the other receipts and printed documents, that does not necessarily need to be in Google Drive. And the problem with that is you cannot preview it or embed it. So we do have a custom mobile app linked with our ERPNext. So we won't be able to embed those images or create a gallery if it's on Google Drive. It doesn't work.
So that
So
just breaks the whole user experience, right? Because
yeah,
you're supposed to do is then give links. Then they're
correct.
supposed to tap on the links. It'll open
They
up
can
a
open the
browser.
Google Drive app, but it doesn't seem very user friendly.
Hmm.
So we wanted to embed those. So we wanted them to download these files easier. So that is where S3 comes in. So we had integration with S3. By the way, it's not only S3, it also works with all the S3 compatible services.
Now, what do you mean by not only S3, as in and S3 compatible systems?
So there are services like Backblaze and Wasabi, which uses the same API architecture which AWS has,
Okay.
and we just need to put up our URL, instance URL there in the settings. So I can show you the same. So for example, you have your access and secret, you have your storage endpoint. So this is Wasabi
Hmm.
right now. So you can integrate with Backblaze, B2, MinIO, and Wasabi, and S3. So
Hmm.
all of them. This is a generic solution that we've devised which works with all of these providers.
Okay.
And you link your bucket region, you have your folder prefixes, your bucket name, and files will start syncing accordingly.
So awesome. So,
And
so basically, what we are talking about is that anyway, uh, we are vendor independent on the Frappe ERPNext ecosystem because,
exactly,
we are not vendor dependent on anything. But the same way, we are not even platform dependent with
exactly.
respect to storage.
Yes,
So if I tomorrow decide that I want to move from Wasabi to maybe Backblaze because they have come up with a lovely offer, maybe I can just move my buckets from Wasabi to Backblaze without any change to any code on
exactly,
Unity instance. Wow.
exactly.
Okay.
And by the way, these providers are actually very cheap and also reliable.
Okay, so there is something cheaper than Amazon S3.
Yeah, Wasabi is way cheaper.
So, but SES is the cheapest, is what you're saying.
SES for the emails, yes, that's the cheapest. But when
Okay.
it comes to storage, I think Wasabi would be the cheapest
Okay.
option out there.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So then basically this is kind of uh, an abstraction which we have done, though we are calling it an AWS integration or AWS app. We are offering it, since it's a AWS compatible API, we can just put in this API, and we are kind of short circuiting it to move from S3 to Wasabi.
Yeah,
Now,
correct.
can you tell me a little details? Okay, now since I'm a little concerned again, or should I be concerned that when I save a file or when I upload any photo or a document, what is it that actually happens?
Okay, so there are two things that happens. There is a direct streaming integration that we've done that once you upload the file, it does not go into your server at all. It directly goes to S3 or one of the services mentioned here. Point two is that your file entry gets created. We have a scheduler which runs actively, let's say for every hour or every 2 hours, and we sync up those files. Both of this can happen. Let's say, for example, you have this active upload enabled, but then for some reason the Wasabi server is down or there is some problem, right? So your files will get stored into your server first, and during that scheduled job, it will get transferred to Wasabi. So that happens
So my
automatically.
files are safe at any point
It
of
is,
time.
it is safe. They also have S3 like disaster recovery mechanisms. They will host it in multiple regions. They'll have copies of the same. So our files are completely safe. And the main point is that they are embeddable. And we can embed it in mobile app. It can preview the same. So this works for public files, by the way. So we've also incorporated those permissions.
Hmm.
So if it is a private file, it remains private. Only users with access to those files will be able to access the S3 link and so on. So we have those private public restrictions enabled. We also have that role permission based restrictions enabled. So for example, you attach what we call image to a student.
Hmm.
Only users who have access to that student document will be able to view those files.
Okay.
So that is also incorporated in this.
So that had to be incorporated as an AWS app, or is that by default a Frappe feature?
So it's a Frappe feature, but when it comes to AWS, we have to customize it a bit so that when that API interaction happens, we do those permission checks first and then give access to that file.
Okay. So what happens when you said, there might be some outage of maybe Wasabi is having some issue, or maybe the backup did not happen for some network issue, or something from the Frappe server. What is a way to manually go and do that or make sure that things are in sync? Is there a manual
So
override?
we've automated it in the sense we also have a scheduled job which will look for unuploaded files or files that remain in this server,
Okay.
and whatever is remaining, we will push it automatically. So there is no manual intervention required as such. So these are all automated. Right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it might be because your account is inactive, let's say.
Hmm.
Let's say you missed a payment and you have to renew it to upload new files.
Hmm.
Just talking about scenarios that might come up so that system doesn't break when these things happen. It will
Okay.
still be functional
Hmm.
and it will give out alerts.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
So yeah. So
Great.
this is for the
Yeah.
files. Actually,
Hmm.
we've also done integration for backups. Frappe does have S3 backups, but this is, like I mentioned, this is also with those other providers. So you have a very in-depth backup settings here, as you can
Hmm.
see. So when you first install this app and you do it for backing up, you will see the status,
Hmm.
what's happening. So you will also see these. We also have those rolling backups. You can set how many backups to keep, what backups to delete, and you will also can send notifications to an email on successful or failed backup. So those things can be configured. Uh, yeah, so a
So
complete
why,
backup
I mean,
service.
what do you mean by backup now? What is being backed up? Are all my files again being
Your
backed up?
database, your private, public files, everything that's on your server, complete backup.
Okay, so even so there is no question of my code. What about code? I mean, one is the database, one is the private and public files, but what about my code? How are you backing up my code?
Code doesn't get backed up. So when you look at it from a site's perspective,
Mhm.
sites only differ in terms of database and your private public files and your site config.
Mm,
These are the stuff which changes for your site.
mm.
Your code remains in GitHub. So it's just a copy of that GitHub code which is in your instance, right?
Oh,
So your code backup is actually in your GitHub. So it resides in GitHub.
that's
But
awesome.
yeah, this is just our files and database entries.
Okay. So what you're saying is we deploy from GitHub. That code resides on the Frappe server. It
Yeah,
executes, and whatever backups are taken is of the private public files, the database, and the site config.
yeah,
But in case actually some disaster does happen on the Frappe server, we can always recover it, and the code comes from GitHub, and nothing is lost.
correct. Exactly. You
Okay.
can deploy your code to any server from your GitHub account,
Okay.
and you can restore this backup onto any site or server.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Great. So
So,
yeah, I think that's a lot of work. I think and how do you think that you can contribute it back to the ecosystem? Why do you think that the ecosystem will benefit from this?
so number one thing is that we already have AWS, but these additional features would be useful to a lot of people,
Mm,
especially the SES part as well as the other services, S3 compatible services like Backblaze and Wasabi
mm,
will prove mighty useful to a lot of people. People with
okay.
a lot of user base, like you see mentioned B2C,
Mm,
and people who deal with a lot of files.
mm,
This will be absolute game changer. So we'll have free space in the server that we hosted. So a
mm.
lot of space gets saved. You also save on your recurring costs. So it's no brainer to uh, have this integration.
Okay. Okay. So so we are contributing it back to open source, right?
Yeah, we've made this app open source actually.
Awesome.
So it's here. We are also actually in the process of publishing it to Frappe Marketplace.
Okay.
So that's in progress. So that should come up shortly.
Okay. Okay.
So this is our app. We'll share the URL with you on the description of the video
Mm,
so that you
mm.
guys can check it out. So we
Nice.
have the complete details with the README, so you
Mm.
guys can check it out. We have this open sourced.
Okay. Awesome. Great. So can you show us a couple of logs of some sent emails
Yeah, sure.
where we'll be able to kind of take a preview of to see, just to give the users a feel of what we mean by batching.
Definitely. So we have this doc type called SES logs. So
Mm.
whatever emails that we are sending out will be visible here. So
Okay.
if you see here, this is a particular message that we've sent out with the subject and a message.
Mm.
There's your recipients, there's your
Mm.
PC, and you will have the status here. So
Mm.
for every email that we send out, we keep these SES logs so that we keep track of the status if it is sent from ACS or not, or if there are any failures for some reason.
Okay.
So these logs would be useful in figuring them out.
So we don't keep track of the delivery, right? I mean, delivered or what?
We don't do that. That's an improvement that we can take up
Yeah,
and
I got it.
contribute. Yeah.
But we are keeping a log of all the emails that we are sending anyway, right?
Yeah.
And there's a rotation which happens on ACS logs also.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Because, we don't want to flood our whole database with just logs of emails which we
No,
send,
no.
because those are a log in number, right?
Like
Uh,
we also delete these logs periodically.
yeah,
Let's say
yeah,
we keep it for 30 days and we delete them periodically so
yeah.
that we won't need email logs for over 30 days. Especially, we would need these logs when something goes wrong,
Mm.
something is erroneous.
Mm.
So that is when we would need to refer it, let's say for the past 30 days. Otherwise,
Mm.
we clear it every 30 days, whichever is older than 30 days.
Okay.
We
Okay.
do that.
Great. All right.
Yeah,
So awesome, yeah. I think, we have done a fantastic job with the AWS
yeah,
app, and kudos to you and the engineering team to get that together, abstract out those details. I think that was a very good find, and I think very useful, beneficial for us as educational institutions, because yeah, we are always looking out for cheaper options
right.
to kind of host it. And so maybe just moving buckets and just changing that API URL will just do things for us without any problem. There will be no what do you say, developer dependency in this, right?
Correct.
I think that is the most important feature in this is, once you've deployed this app, I don't think we'll be requiring a developer to kind of monitor our day-to-day working, or even when you want to shift, I don't think we'll be needing developers' assistance to actually go and,
Change the
change
server.
something in the code.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we just
definitely.
have to change the URL, and, we are good to go. It's
Right.
very easily done. I think the UX is amazing because people are always scared that, oh, if I have to move a storage server, that's a very big thing, and I'm going to require a lot of development and DevOps teams to kind of come and help me with that.
Yeah,
But now it's just changing a
simple.
URL. So
Correct.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
We're working on Google Workspace integration. We're
Okay.
coming up with a generic app.
Hmm.
So yeah, we'll be building all the set of features. We've actually worked on Google Meet, Google Accounts, then Google Drive as well. So we'll be coming up with those set of features too.
What
And
about
we,
calendar?
yeah, Google Calendar also. Complete
And,
Google suite, to
and
be honest.
something which education institutions require, classrooms?
Yeah. Yes, also classrooms.
Okay, that's awesome. Great.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I think that is going to be an awesome addition again, where
right.
not only for education, but I think for the general
The
community.
whole Frappe ecosystem
Are you going
can
to,
use the same. Yeah.
are you planning to open source that too?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's great. So I think, yeah, the Google Workspace will also be a big addition, because I think scheduling meetings, or entering in the calendar, putting stuff on Google Drive, and deep integration with your accounts
Hmm.
helps a lot, because while onboarding an employee, onboarding a student, deboarding an employee, deboarding a student, or marking them as alumni, all of that, having integration with Google at the back end is a game changer, because for us, we don't have to go and actually log in there and do that manually.
Do things twice, essentially. You don't have to do things twice. We automate these stuff.
Exactly, exactly. Awesome, great. So looking forward to that. I think maybe we can have another such webinar once we kind of mature with that app.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's do
Awesome,
that.
great. Thank you, Shankara. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the insight.
Thank you, Nikhil. Bye.
Bye. Bye.